Hey guys, welcome to the workshop. In today's video, I wanted to share with you 5 woodworking tools for beginners, so stick around. Okay, so jumping right into this list, one of the very first things that you're going to need in order to do DIY projects is a drill. Whether it's a corded drill or it's a battery operated drill, the drill is something that you're going to use probably on every single project that you do. If you're going to do drywall in your house, you're going to need a drill to put the screws in. If you need to make a hole in a board, you're going to usually want to use a drill for that. You can use a drill for so many things. In fact, there's a lot of jigs that you can build for your drill that'll actually give you even more range of usage for that drill. Okay, so the second tool in this list is the jigsaw. And once again, a jigsaw you can get corded, you can get battery operated. There are, once again, very many different options. But this saw is going to enable you to be able to cut a lot of those really fine cuts, rounded corners, cutting circles out, cutting really thin plywood. Even some of the shiplap stuff that I've done in some of my videos, I have had to use the jigsaw to cut around, say, trim around the window or something like that. A jigsaw comes very much in handy. And the one that I ended up getting is actually from a flea market, and that brings up a really good point. When you are in the market for some of these tools, it's really easy to want to just go to Lowe's and go to Home Depot and buy those tools. But if you're not going to always use these tools and they're going to sit on a shelf for a really long time, a really good option is to go to pawn shops and flea markets. The one that I ended up purchasing, my jigsaw that is, I purchased for about $7, and that came with the case and everything, as you can already see, and it's been very good. It's old, of course. It's got some of those little nuances that are a little quirky, but it still works really good for the cheap price that I bought it for. Another really good option would be Harbor Freight. You can get a lot of mid-grade tools there. I personally don't have a lot of experience buying the more expensive power tools there. I've always been a little more skeptical of purchasing those. So if you've purchased those and you're happy with those, please drop a comment down below. Lets me know, it lets everybody else know that's watching this video that, hey, Harbor Freight does have some good tools. But let's move on to the next tool. Okay, so you've got a drill to drill wood, to put screws in. Then you have the little jigsaw to cut some of the fine corners. But for some of the larger cuts, you can't do it with a jigsaw. So then you would want to turn your attention to the circular saw. And the same thing applies, corded, battery, whatever. You can use whatever you think's the best. I personally use both. I have a battery operated one and I have a corded operated one. I personally really like the corded version because you're always going to have that constant power. But I recently just bought a battery operated one from Milwaukee, and it's really, really good, and I know that those batteries are going to last me a long time. So with circular saws, it gives you the option to be able to buy bulk sheets of plywood and cut them down to size you can actually use with the combination of a carpenter's square and use cross cuts. You can cut 2x4s with it, 2x6s, you can cut all sorts of things with a circular saw. In fact, there's a lot of jigs that you can do with a circular saw as well that would really develop more options for you down the road as you would go. So after you've cut your wood, you got it all cut, you've got stuff put together, then it's time to finish it. And for that, you're going to need a sander. And there are many different kinds of sanders. You've got belt sanders, you've got palm sanders, you've got orbital disc sanders. There's a lot of different sanders out there, but when it comes down to it, just a good old handheld palm sander is a really good option. You can do a lot of different things with different grit sandpaper. I would say a sander is very essential because in the woodworking world, when you're done, you don't want it to be rough, you want it to be smooth. And if you're doing a tabletop DIY version, even just buying it from Lowe's or Home Depot, you're going to end up with a lot of sanding to do by hand if you don't have an electric tool. So to me, having that electric sander is a really good option. Now, all the tools that I've suggested in this video are going to be linked down below in the description of this video. So if you want to go shopping for any of these tools, you can follow that link and it will take you to a page that gives you a wide list, and then you can do some of your own research to figure out which ones and which brands you would prefer. And if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email, you can shoot me a text through my website, or you can just comment in this video below and I'll answer that question. So those were all power tools that I suggested, but this last thing is really not one tool. In fact, it's a bunch of tools, and they're all simple hand tools, and so I'm calling this the beginner's toolbox, and there's a link in the description for that as well. This toolbox is going to include tape measure, a hammer, pencils, a carpenter's square, different things that you would use in these projects that you just may not think of, or it's just finding the time to go get it. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope that this video really helped you out, and I hope that it answers that question of all these different tools that you can use in replacement for all those really big tools. This just goes to show that you don't need a table saw, you don't need a miter saw, you don't need a drill press, a bandsaw, a big sander. You don't need all that stuff. You can do a lot of these things with just really simple tools that won't cost you an arm and a leg to get. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and go follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time right here in the workshop.